Hello there, and welcome to the Stay Off My Lawn podcast, where we'll have a little fun, lots of laughs, and discussions on the common sense that needs to be applied to a lot of today's world news issues. And now, the disclaimer. Stay Off My Lawn is not intended as legal, medical, or financial advice. Void where prohibited. No purchase necessary to win. Open to legal U.S. residents 18 or older in the contiguous 48 states. Any resemblance to anyone living or deceased is purely coincidental. Actual price may vary. Only use as directed. Not a member of FDIC. And now, here are your hosts, Mike and Richard.
You did that without even moving your lips. I mean,
Man, I am so good. I'm a professional.
I know. It's just incredible. It gives me a headache every time, but it's fun.
Yeah, that's quite a disclaimer. Basically, we're not responsible for anything.
That's right. I refuse to be responsible, and it's just the way that works. I mean, I pay my mortgage. That's really all I'm responsible for.
Yeah, from all the funds we get from doing this.
All the funds. That's right. Welcome to this week's episode of Stay Off My Lawn. It's August 5th, 2025, and this is episode 129. August 5th, August 4th, we had a weird thing. I texted Richard a screenshot from a local meteorologist in Atlanta that yesterday was the lowest high temperature, if that makes any sense, on record in Atlanta. Yesterday, the high in Atlanta was 68 degrees for August 4th. It's just insane. I think the last time.
And it's funny that you said it to me. I'm clear across the country in little old Idaho. That's where I get my accent from, southern Idaho. That's people go, did you grow up in the South? Southern Idaho. Anyway.
Redneck Idaho. Yeah.
We didn't get above 80 yesterday. So it was weird that you had that low temperature. And it's like, it was rather we had clouds and a little bit of thunder boomers and all kinds of rumbling going on and wind blowing. Stir all the dirt up and then go, here's your rain. That's about all we got.
We've had drizzle for about 4 or 5 days now, and it's like I just can't get out. And my backyard needs to be cut so bad, and because it was unusable while they were rebuilding my deck, and so I just let it go. I figured I'll get it afterwards, and now afterwards it's done nothing but rain. So I'm like, all right. So by the time I get out there, it's going to take me 3 hours to cut it. So it is what it is.
Yeah. Well, I did mine, and it took a while on Sunday. I think I finally got mine mowed on Sunday. So.
Yeah. We talked about this before we came on the air, and I really don't have a lot of prep for this, but Sydney Sweeney, I had never heard of her up until a couple of weeks ago when she was on that American Eagle jeans commercial.
Yes.
And they're calling her a Nazi, or they're calling American Eagle a Nazi company because she said, and being a white girl, she had good genes. And I don't think of skin color necessarily when I think of jeans. I think of good looking. I think of, maybe just long legs. I think of just, and she's got all that too. So, I mean,
the left constantly, the Democrats constantly calling someone Nazis it's like you're insulting all the people that went through the Holocaust, really. And people are just going, yeah, whatever. And they're just ignoring it. There's nothing landing. They don't know what else to do except for diss somebody else. Right. They're the fault. Here's the problems over there. And it's like, no, not really. Yes. And she happens to be a Republican, and they thought, oh, we doxed her. We found out she's a registered Republican. And people went, okay.
And normal people don't care what you're registered as. I mean,
then she goes and videos at a gun range, and I don't think I'd mess with her. She had a gun in her hand because you ain't gonna make it. Because she was hitting targets left, just bing, 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 bing down. It was not a problem.
Yeah, it was a course. She was hitting different metal targets, and she's fantastic.
Yeah.
For being a late 20s person, she's got her stuff together. But, the thing is with this advertising thing, it's like you have to be, apparently, if you're going to advertise clothes, you got to be a person of color. You've got to be seemingly in the last few years, you got to be fat and out of shape, because it's like fat shaming. You can't.
How come I haven't got my stuff? What the heck?
That's what I'm saying. I should be a model for swimwear, I would think,
Well,
I mean,
you're svelte, and nobody wants to go on the diet you were on. The cancer diet is not really something that's going to be widespread for right
but
now.
it is foolproof. I will give you that.
It will thin you down.
You'll lose weight. But that's the thing. It's like just because she's in shape and she was talking about having good genes, it was a play on words. She was wearing jeans. It's like, but and I posted this is really kind of, I just thought of this. I posted a picture of my granddaughters the other day, and I talk about them all the time, but they are absolutely little dolls, I guess, for lack of a better term. But I mean, they're just beautiful. They've taken every best genetic from all of their ancestors, going back probably 160 years, and it's like they've got my wife's beautiful blue eyes. Nobody else really has blue. I've got kind of greenish eyes. My son has kind of greenish eyes. It's like, but they've got the beautiful blue eyes. They've got the skin tone of my wife and my daughter-in-law. And it's like, and when I posted the picture, it's like my friend that I've had for 40 years, that he posted and he goes, "Thank God they didn't get the genes from you." It's like, well, thank God too. Yeah.
Yeah, they got the best, and not much of it came from you.
And I'm very thankful for that.
They are a couple of little cutie pies.
Yeah, they are. So I mean, there's nothing inherently evil about saying somebody has good genes. It just means that they've got to. I didn't get good genes. I mean, I'm proud of that too, because I don't care.
Well, they had. Did you happen to see the side by side comparison? Because you had Beyonce also did a gene commercial for
Yeah.
some other. She had a blonde wig, blonde whatever was all set up, and essentially looked almost identical in the setup and the way they were there. And nobody had a problem with that, with the blonde hair on an African individual. And I don't. The double standards are getting really old, and people are going, yeah, and they don't care anymore. They just go ahead and complain about it.
And that's the thing. It's like, and if you're a man out there, you know what a good looking woman is, and she's not 240 and with spillover on a pair of jeans. It just doesn't. It's
Doesn't have
just
a muffin top.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's just not that. I mean, you want to see somebody that's beautiful, like Beyonce's beautiful, and Sydney Sweeney's beautiful. They're different beautiful, but they're still beautiful, both of them. And they have good shapes, and they've got good genes. It's
Yep,
just the way
lovely
it is.
humans. It's
Nothing
they're
to do with
the reason they get what they're doing. And Sydney Sweeney's in that something Lotus. I don't remember what it is. It's
like I
not
said,
a show
I never heard
I've
of it.
heard of the show, but I didn't know the name. I wouldn't have known her from Shinola.
No, me neither.
But American, what is it? American Eagle jeans?
American Eagle, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, they're just loving this. They are getting so much free advertising.
Oh, not only
Their
that,
sales are up 400%, and a lot of sizes are sold out. They can't make them fast enough.
and since all this dropped, the stock price is up. I think as of yesterday, it was 24%.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, okay, everybody's winning except for the crying people. Uh,
There you go. And they'll be crying about that pretty soon. So,
of course,
Anyway.
and that's fine. Just figured we'd throw that out there because it's just it keeps getting in the news.
it's
And
another stupid controversy that was put together by people that love to make stupid controversies.
right, out of non-issues. Yeah, I mean, because
Yeah,
nobody.
out of something that's like, okay, you don't
But if
have
you
to
look at
watch it.
Sports
Change the channel.
Illustrated,
I don't care.
you look at Sports Illustrated, that was their demise because their swimsuit issue used to be the biggest issue of the year,
Yep.
and they went woke and went with, things that weren't all that good looking something to watch, or wasn't one of them a man? Didn't they have a man
Oh, I think they did had a
God,
tranny,
it's just crazy,
whatever
crazy.
they are.
But I mean, it ran them into the ground. Sports Illustrated
Yep.
is no more. So,
Nope.
anyway, you live and you learn. Hopefully, in
Go woke,
Texas,
go broke.
that's right. In Texas, there is supposed to be a redistricting,
Easy for you to say.
redistricting. I still can't do it. Vote in Texas, but the Democrats, who are not in power in the legislature, in the state at this time anyway, are losing it and have decided to leave the state and go to places like, Illinois. Um,
If you haven't seen a map of Illinois, it's hilarious. They're up there. Pritzker was up in front of a microphone. That big old Tubbo was up there, and he's talking about. I'm going, really? This is a pot calling the kettle black.
Speaking of bad
Give
genes,
me a break.
he's got a good
Yeah.
bank account, but he's got bad genes. But Greg Abbott had this to say about this whole situation.
So very simply, it would be bribery if any lawmaker took money to perform or to refuse to perform an act in the legislature. And the reports are these legislators have been both, they sought money and they offered money to skip the vote, to leave the legislature, to take a legislative act. That would be bribery. And so the facts will have to come out. But I think based upon comments made by legislators themselves, they face a possibility of facing bribery charges, which is a second-degree felony in the state of Texas.
See, I didn't know anything about the money, and I'm sure this will all get uncovered as time goes on. But that's pretty ugly.
He has already sent out the Texas Rangers to find and arrest them and bring them back.
Really?
That edict was like late last night.
Wow. And of course, almost on cue, Kathy Hochul and others decided to march up to the
Oh,
podium.
this is another state that has gerrymandering up the wahoos.
Absolutely. You look at that state, you see nothing but red except for New York City and maybe Buffalo. I mean, it's very,
And the districts are. It's like, what the hell? They're all little crooked lines, and it's.
yeah, definitely. Well, here's my favorite maroon, Kathy Hochul.
What Texas and Republican states are doing at the direction of Donald Trump, I say is nothing short of a legal insurrection against our capital. Legal meaning they're using the legal process. Does not mean it's legal, and it must be stopped. If Republicans are willing to rewrite these rules to give themselves an advantage, then they're leaving us no choice. We must do the same. There's a phrase, you have to fight fire with fire. That is a true statement of how we're feeling right now. And as I've said, another overused but applicable phrase, all's fair in love and war. That's why I'm exploring with our leaders every option to redraw our state congressional lines as soon as possible.
Whenever I
You
hear
haven't already screwed them up? It's
Exactly.
like, what are you talking about? And they're using the legal system doesn't mean it's legal. What? What the hell was that supposed to mean?
that's why you come down to bugs and
What an imbecile. What an ultra-maroon.
anyway, she's like you said, if you want to look at the districts and how they're carved out, Illinois is terrible, absolutely terrible. I mean, like you said, we were talking off the air. There's like a sliver of blue here and there, and it's like, and then there's a big dot of Chicago. But
Yeah, there's one on the north west side of Illinois, and it's a pretty good blob, and then it's like the paint dripped. It's got this nice little square, and then it's like the paint dripped, and it's like halfway down the state of Illinois. And what the individual that was showing it going over saying, if it didn't have this little tail that dripped down here, it would be a red deal.
yeah.
But no, they took that little line and moved it all the way down. And they've got some others, and it's like, how did you? It's one district is in the middle of the state, and it's blue, and it's all stretched out. And it's,
Probably Illinois is probably the most gerrymandered state in the country. And if you look at President Trump won 45% of the popular vote in Illinois as a state. And if you look at their congressional people, there's 14 Democrats and only 3 Republicans. How does that shake out?
well, and what they have for registered voters of being Republican and Democrat, it's like 48, 49 to 51, 52.
Evenly
It's just almost even. But that's not the way it is in their legislature or what they send back to D.C.
Nope,
And
absolutely.
California is the exact same way. It is gerrymandered all over the place. It is ridiculous.
And of course, if you're drawing new lines, Republican or Democrats, they both do it. It's called redistricting if you're for it. It's called gerrymandering if you're against it, because it's just it works out better. Here's
But
Corey.
the two states that have this going on is where they where these people from Texas went to two of the worst gerrymandered states there is. And yet they're acting all pious and, oh, we don't do that. That is not in our playbook. Pfft, you invented it. Get off my back.
And Hochul just said that, well, we're going to try to do it too. Like you said, they've been doing it for years.
You're already doing it. What do you mean you're going to?
It's not a new concept.
Anyhow, you got another deal.
And not to be outdone, Cory Booker had this to say.
I'm sick of the gerrymandering, but if Donald Trump is going to push to gerrymander Texas, he's going to break the rules in order to win. He can't win by the rules they are right now, so he thinks you should break the rules. For Democrats to sit back and just say, okay, we're going to play by the Queen's rules, no. I'm telling you right now, we need to win in the midterm. We need to stop him from cheating, from lying, and from stealing the election. And if they're doing something to add their congressional seats, we need to look at our ways of doing that right now.
It's cheating and lying when the other people do it, but when you do it, we're just.
I think the horns were causing his halo to slide to one side. Gee, Merry Christmas. Give me a break. Again, another Democrat acting all pious, and then we are so above, and we are just good little bullpucky.
Exactly.
Give me a break. And unfortunately, everybody sees that. And they just think that, oh, nobody will know. Quit talking to us like we're stupid because you're in trouble.
With Democratic politicians, normally the people that follow them tend to be kind of stupid. I think they tend to not to think for themselves and just kind of go with whatever they're told. Again, and I reference COVID all the time, man, but we saw it so bold-faced that these people will just... especially if you're a left-wing person, you will just take at face value whatever information is given to you if you somehow trust that person or the mainstream media or whatever entity it is. You trust it and you just blindly follow. That's what differences with the Republicans.
Well, that's like the we'll get into that later with the labor statistics.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. It's like this. The math ain't math in here. So anyway, we'll get to that. It's the same thing. It's like the math ain't math, and give it up, Democrats. Give me a break. Speaking of math, what do you have? You have another?
No, I've got the next story. We've spoken, and we're going to have to split this up over the break. But we've spoken several times about how members of Congress have seemingly used their positions and early knowledge of government contracts and how the future budget's going to shake out to, make money on the stock market. There's even a website that tracks this stuff. If you don't believe me, it's called Capital Trades, CAPITAOL, trades.com. And you can find individual congresspeople, what they've invested in, how much money they've made. It's absolutely fascinating to watch this. But, if any of us common citizens took that kind of information and used it to our advantage, what would happen? We'd end up in bracelets. Right?
We would be in the Gray Bar Hilton.
That's right. It would be called insider trading, whatever you want to call. But Missouri Senator Josh Hawley has introduced something called the Pelosi Act.
I love the name. It just kills me.
Officially, it might be called something else. I don't know. But I love the Pelosi Act. But anyway,
well, that's what. She's just been trading to make ends meet to help support her family to the tune of almost $250,000.
They don't want to cancel the cable. I mean, they got to make some money from that.
What is she going to do? Take it with her? I mean, some of these people. Yeah. Anyhow.
Anyway, here's Josh Hawley talking about it real quick.
Let me just say that we have an opportunity here today to do something that the public has wanted us to do for decades, and that is to ban members of Congress from profiting on information that, frankly, only members of Congress have in the buying and selling of stock. 86% of Americans say that members of Congress should not be able to buy and sell shares of stock, individual stock, while they are members of this body, and they are absolutely correct. And the reason is, you can see it, there was just another ethics referral in the House last week. We've seen the former Speaker of the House make millions of dollars in profits. We've seen members of both parties, I'm sad to say, be investigated for their stock trades. And the reason for all of this is that, quite frankly, members of this body are privy to information that the normal person just is not. Now, is that insider trading? It is not under the laws. Sometimes people say, well, we already have insider trading laws. We don't need a stock ban. Well, the information that members of Congress are privy to is technically not covered.
Yeah, so it's not called insider trading because they're Congress, and he's working to kind of get all that. Now, you know what? We're up against the break. We'll talk more about this when we come back. I've got some more numbers to go over, so hang in there. We will be right back.
The Stay Off My Lawn podcast will be right back.
Bud Light presents Real Men of Genius.
Real men of genius.
Today we salute you, Mr. Company Computer Guy.
Mr. Company Computer Guy.
You are the ruler of the RAM, the guru of the gigabyte, the monster of the memory.
Show me the way.
When we screw up the boot up, you are there. Without you, computers would megabyte. The countless hours we spend surfing the internet and accidentally stumbling upon porn sites would instead be spent working.
Working for the man.
So crack open a nice cold Bud Light, Mr. Company Computer Guy. For it's you who keeps our log-ons logging and our hard drives hard.
You gotta see this porn site.
Bud Light Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
We do have some fun facts about all this insider trading that's not insider trading.
And just so you think we're beating up on Democrats, we're not. I think the second best insider trader in there is a Republican. I believe it's Dan Crenshaw.
Oh, yeah. And you know, the
way up. He's made like $30 million in 2 years or something.
When I looked at Capital Trades the other day, the last 6 or 7 trades that were listed on there was a Republican. It was nobody I recognized. But, yeah, I mean, and I get where that would be a temptation to do that because everybody likes money. I mean, who doesn't? As a matter of fact, Trump is not for this. And you know, and really there's a lot of varying opinions within Congress of people that I really respect and think are smart. But anyway, some fun facts about some of this. The average investor sees 4% returns when they invest in the stock market. The market average brings back 10% if you take everything all together. Nancy Pelosi's husband has earned 62%.
Boy, he's good.
He's good. He's just talented.
How come he's so good?
I don't know. When he's not getting in fights with other guys in his underwear in his foyer, he's just glued to the computer and figuring out stock trades. And there were 12 senators during COVID that saw 96% returns in the stock market investment portfolios. So. Anyway, the average portfolio of Congress individuals is between $500 and $1 million, and these are people that make what is the salary?
An average senator is $174,000. Speaker of the House gets $224,000, and I think for the Senate that they are right around the $200,000 mark for the Senate.
Okay. So I mean, it's not like they should have that much money set aside. That's good money, but it's not money. It's not life changing to where you'd be able to save $1 million in a year or two. So anyway, now I like Senator Rick Scott, but he's one of those that I'm not really sure that I agree with him about this. And there really is, you got to zoom out a little bit and see both sides of this. And I get where the other people are coming from, but we're gonna give you both sides. We're gonna call balls and strikes here. But anyway, Senator Rick Scott had this to say about this whole thing.
I don't know when in this country it became a negative to make money. But somehow, if you've made money, you're supposedly, I think Senator Hawley suggests you shouldn't be serving because you might trade stocks. Now, I came up here, I made money. I started out never knowing my dad, living in public housing. I lived the dream that many of us wanted to live. not be broke. I went to junior college, joined the Navy. I didn't go to some elite university. I went to the cheapest place I could find, and I went and built businesses. But somehow now, if you've made money, somehow it's negative up here. I did what Senator Johnson did. When I became governor of Florida, I sold my operating businesses. I did a blind trust while I was governor. I never saw what was in the blind trust. I never traded one thing that was in the blind trust. Somebody else did it. Now in this job, I don't trade stocks. I don't own operating businesses. But somehow it's suspect because I made money. I don't know how many people in the audience, how many of you don't want to make money? Anybody want to be poor? I don't.
And maybe I'm missing the point of this, but it's like, if you're not trading stocks, then this doesn't affect you. Am I missing something? Isn't that the way?
Yeah, those who aren't, it's not going to affect. It's when you come in, you're not going to be allowed to do so, and yeah, it's a way to make more money, and if we don't have to pay them more, because people go, I mean, in this day and age, I hate to say it, $174,000, especially in the DC area. Where your average house is somewhere $750,000 to $800,000. That's not a whole lot.
It's not, but I don't think most people have. I don't think most Congress people anyway have permanent residences up there. I think they rent apartments or whatever. And
well, there's some that when they first start, and I've heard this story over and over from different ones. They have showers and they have a cot that they sleep in their office.
Yeah.
So
I mean, that makes sense. But again, if you're privy to information, let's say that McDonnell Douglas is going to get a military contract, and you're on the board that approves all that. Well, I mean, it would be very tempting to go ahead and buy some McDonnell Douglas stock. And this is just an example. But, I mean, why wouldn't you? Because they're going to make a whole crap ton of money over the next 10 years because of that contract. So their stock price will inevitably go up. So, I mean, you should not be able to have that information and use it for your advantage. And like I said, if you or your spouse are trading stocks and you're in Congress and you're privy to some of this information, I don't think it's right. I just don't, and I don't know how you enforce this. It doesn't seem like this is going to go through.
Well, I think there's too many that are maybe, for lack of any other word, dabbling in it and are not doing the Pelosi flat out and out, going whole hog with it. It's like
$1 million now, right? I mean,
she's right at a quarter of $1 billion, if you will. And I haven't seen the latest thing on Crenshaw, but the last thing I saw was like 31 million that he's made in 4 years or something like that. That he has that much. His stock is worth that much, I guess. So
Senator John Fetterman, who's sounding more conservative all the time, as his brain is healing, it had this to say about it.
Senator, what did you think of the decision to pass that legislation banning lawmakers from trading individual stocks?
I'd like to keep it really simple for America. Treat everyone equally and don't trade stock if you're a member here. I mean, that's what I vote for. That's what I support. And if someone else disagrees with me, that's fine. But again, treat everybody equally and don't trade.
Should it apply to the president and vice president as well?
Again, that's what I say. Include everybody. Treat everybody equally.
Yeah, and it should include the president and vice president. The president and vice president now has said that they don't want to be included in this bill. But they tried to pass something back in 2023, 2022, I think it was. And they were actually exempting Biden and Kamala Harris from it also. So to be fair, they did that with them also. But, I think include the president too. I don't know. Rand Paul was asked about it too, and man, I think Rand Paul's one of the smartest guys in Congress or in the Senate for sure. But he had this to say.
That if it were a good bill, they would apply it to Donald Trump. The fact that they're excluding Donald Trump from it, he's going to be exempt from it, probably means it's not a very good bill. So I think it's unwise and not well thought out. Think about it in our history. Some of the richest people in our country were president. George Washington may well have been the richest man in the country at the time. Some say he's the richest president ever. And people like that own a lot of stuff, have a lot of businesses. I think we should be applauding and honoring and wanting people to serve. Look, Mitt Romney and I didn't agree on everything, but he was a thoughtful person. He was a very wealthy person. He brought business acumen. I think you want to bring people like that. You're going to deter a lot of people like that from coming, not just banning them from owning stock, but saying they have to sell all of their businesses. I think it's over the top and not well thought out.
See, I didn't know about them having to sell all their businesses in order. I know the president had to do that, but I mean, I get both sides, but I still am not for it.
Yeah, it's and I'm kind of with him on that it's not really well thought out, and it seems to be like a knee-jerk reaction, boom. And it's all because, okay, you're making some money from the stocks, and you can have something after retirement, which I don't remember how many years you have to be in the house in order to. They recently upped it. I don't remember what it is. It used to be if you served 2 years, you got permanent retirement.
Rest of your life. Yeah.
Rest of your life of 174. What a deal. But I'm not sure where that is at the moment.
I'm not sure either.
It seems like I heard something like 6 years or whatever. I don't remember.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the Senate term is 6 years, so that maybe they do. Maybe that's across the board.
That may have been the reason for that. That number just is stuck in my head. It could be nowhere near. Oh, if only there was a device that we could look something up. I'll have to figure out what that might be.
Yeah, we'll have to see if I can find a keyboard somewhere, and we'll hook it up to something. Bill O'Reilly was asked about this too, and had this to say:
the president doesn't want any ban on commodities trading in the Congress and in the executive branch. So it's his opinion. It's a very interesting issue because there are two sides to the story. Nancy Pelosi and her husband have certainly prospered financially. I don't know whether they did anything untoward or not, but they have because of her position of power, or it coincided with that. But on the other hand, if you ban it, then you are denying people serving the public to participate in the capitalistic system. Tell them they can't do that. They can't provide for their families. If you don't like it, don't run, but you lose a lot of good people. And that's a little facile. If you don't like it, don't run. I mean, what is the right thing to do? So I'd have to see the proposed bill that Hawley is supporting. I'm not surprised President Trump criticized him, because that's what the president does when you oppose him. I'm not upset by it. I don't think Hawley is upset by it. I don't think this will pass. I don't think members of Congress will vote for it.
Well, I mean,
I'm kind of his frame of mind. It's like you get some that, wow, it's 174,000, and then when they get to D.C., they go, oh, this isn't how we live back in Kentucky. How in the holy crap? It doesn't go very far.
Oh, yeah, I know. I knew somebody who lived in D.C. back in 1987, and I remember they were members of the military, and because they were enlisted guys like me, that they had to share a one-bedroom apartment with like 3 guys, because back then it was for a one-bedroom apartment, it was over $1,000 a month. Oof. And we're talking almost 40 years ago. Yeah. So imagine what it is today.
Yeah, it's really crazy. That's the one thing when daughter and son-in-law, she wasn't looking forward to going to D.C., but it is what it is, and she's a military wife and will follow along, and everything's hunky-dory, but wasn't fond of it. Now, the housing might still be a little spendy in Hawaii, but boy, it's a whole lot better place to be living.
The weather's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Just for the weather alone. But yeah, anyway. So we'll have to wait and see how that shakes out. I think probably Bill O'Reilly's right. This is not going to go through.
I don't think it will either.
And there may be a lot of Congress people that don't necessarily use the information that they are privy to. I don't know. I don't know how this works, but I know that people have been talking about this for a long time, and Senator Hawley has finally brought it before them. So anyway, we'll have to just kind of wait and see how that turns out. Trump may be firing the Bureau of Labor Statistics chief.
No, not maybe, has gone. They are defunctoid.
The mainstream media is reporting on this differently, saying that the Bureau has not put out the numbers that Trump wants. So he wants to fire her. Well, it goes a little bit deeper than that. And here's Fox News explaining the depth to some of this.
President Trump now moving to fire the labor stats chief following a much weaker than expected July jobs report and revised numbers from previous months.
The president railed against the former commissioner of labor statistics, Erica McIntyre, after seeing these numbers. The BLS reported the U.S. only added 73,000 jobs in July, and it sharply revised its figures for the preceding month, saying only 14,000 jobs were created in June and 19,000 in May. That's more than 250,000 lower than what the agency had originally estimated. The unemployment rate also ticked up from 4.1% in June to 4.2% last month. The president saying on Truth Social, McIntyre will be replaced with someone much more competent and qualified. Important numbers like this must be fair and accurate. McIntyre was nominated by former President Biden in July 2023.
Anyway, I really thought that this was always a nonpartisan number crunching outfit. I mean, apparently
This
not.
is, during Biden's, they were saying, there was this many people that were hired. And there was 1 month, there was something like 100,000 new jobs. And of the 100,000 new jobs, 80,000 were with the government. And it's like, that's really not a new job because we're still paying for that. So it doesn't go, that's not right.
Really
And,
job creation. Yeah.
no, and there was a gentleman explaining the different numbers. Oh, my Lord. I don't know if I sent it to you or not. I might have, but it was hilarious in that how can you have employment up, but yet the job numbers were down? It's like, this ain't mathing. You can't have this be up here and this be down here because the two numbers need to coincide. It was like, what? He goes, I'm just giving you the actual numbers. He goes, it ain't mathing for me either.
Yeah.
So, it's there's some hinky stuff that's been going on for the last 4 years, and I can't believe that person is still there.
I know. Well, he's had so many other things on his plate. He just hasn't gotten to them yet, I guess.
Well, and what's been happening and all the different companies that have been growing, this is anyway.
Yeah, Kevin Hassett is the National Economic Council director. He said this about the situation.
BLS has been revising numbers all over the place in a way that makes it so that I don't think anybody really can trust that the numbers are right, whichever way they're going.
So, I mean, if he doesn't have any confidence in this, I don't know. But we did get some.
I am not a mathematician, and I could see the numbers and go, "What? No."
We've got a little bit further insight on the guesswork that this is all about. I really thought it was about firm numbers. It's guesswork. And here's further explanation.
Every time you would have important numbers come out, we would later find out that the BLS had put out phony numbers and that they always had to be revised. And every time, kind of like a lot of things in politics, they always had to be revised in the same direction.
Oh, weird.
It's so strange how that works.
Interesting.
It's such a great point, Charlie. So in August of 2024, this same BLS chief, McIntyre, revised the jobs numbers by 818,000. 800,000. And you're right, it comes from the survey.
So you put out whatever they tell you to put out, and then you revise it later, and it becomes like on page 6.
And then you put out, and it's all headline news, and then the revisions are and it went from 800. We were off. What was that? What did you say? What? How much? What?
That's exactly right, and that's what they're doing. So I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Let's see. Let's try to squeeze this one in because we've still got a few more things to get to. North Carolina Congresswoman Virginia Foxx asked for clarification on Medicaid cuts for everyone to hear, and I figured we'd go ahead and let this go through. Let's see, get the right clip here. According to the Congressional Budget Office, a bipartisan entity, supposedly.
Yeah, heavy on this supposedly.
Yeah, because there's no propaganda or anything. But here's how that conversation went.
I've had people writing me alleging what we've been hearing from the other side today. They allege it. And I say to them, please ask your sources to state the facts, not what they're being fed. So would you please read those numbers again?
Absolutely. According to CBO estimates of those on Medicaid losing health insurance, 4.8 million are able-bodied adults without dependents who choose to not meet modest work or community engagement requirements. And then 1.4 million are illegal immigrants. And then 1.6 million will have access to other forms of subsidized health insurance, including the option to stay on Medicaid. And then 1.3 million are already ineligible for the Medicaid program, period. They shouldn't be on the program, but they're doing it. And when you look about the ones that CBO estimates of those on Obamacare losing health insurance, 1.8 million are illegal immigrants, and 1.1 million are fraudsters who don't submit common sense verification requirements. And this is from CBO.
Well, there you go. I mean, if you those are not cuts. Those are trimming the fat.
And they're also working on. I saw a like a chain of doctors, whatever, were in big time trouble. A hospital was in trouble because it's like, just bill the government for it; they'll pay it. And they're going, this is it. No, these people don't exist. How did you do medical stuff on somebody we can't find?
Well, it's not just Medicare, Medicaid, but Medicare fraud's been going on for a long time.
It's horrible. Yeah, they were in trouble for that too. Shocking. Just bill the government for it.
Shocking. Tongue firmly in your cheek on that one.
Yeah, my eyeball.
Oh gosh. Hey, we're up against a break. When we come back, we're going to hear from. We may not hear from Kamala, but she had an announcement the other day, and we'll break that down.
I don't want to hear from her either.
It hurts. Make it stop. Make it stop. So hang in there. We'll be right back.
Stay connected with these guys. Email at soml@duck.com or go to the website stayoffmylawn.
When it comes to vaping, the truth can get clouded. So let's make it clear. Vaping is not safe for youth.
Because vaping can put microscopic particles into your lungs.
And dangerous things like metals into your body.
And nicotine, which can harm a person's brain development through their mid-20s.
With appealing flavors, high nicotine levels, and lots of promotion on social media.
Many kids think vaping is harmless, but it's not.
So talk to your kids about the risks of vaping.
Because when you talk, they hear you.
Learn more at underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
And we be jamming.
Yeah, the vaping thing, I do like that. I know a gentleman that was trying to quit smoking, and he was one of those that, as my father says, would suck that thing right down to the Tampax, down to the filter on the end. And so he was one that, and he did the same thing with vaping. Well, he was in the hospital and unconscious and in a coma for almost 2 weeks because he had pneumonia that bad. He felt his lungs got full with all the vapor, the water vapor. Your lungs aren't made to handle the water vapor. So, yeah, and I've heard of other people. So it's just not a good thing, folks. Why would you want to put that in there?
Yeah, I don't get it. I mean, it's sort of like setting something on fire and smoking it anyway. You hear that?
Yes, we
Hear
did.
Well, what are you doing here, girlie?
Anyway.
Sorry, we have this is Pooh. Just so if you're watching this on video, we just had my cat get on my lap. But anyway, the vaping thing, I've just never understood sucking water vapor into your lungs, anything into your lungs. I mean, let's just keep your lungs clear.
Yeah, there's nothing worse than 2X smokers.
Yeah, exactly.
And we weren't super heavy, but it still took me 3 times to knock that stuff out 45 years ago? Yeah, 45 years ago.
It was about 40 years ago. Well, a little 39 years ago for me when I quit. It was like, but you know, I could feel myself getting purged. I don't want to get into the grossness of it, but my lungs purged themselves over a period of about 3 weeks after I finally quit. I was like, well, I'm never doing that again, because it was real ugly. But your body's just not designed to do that. It's just terrible. So anyway,
Anywho's.
we saw Kamala the other day, and she said that she was not interested in running for governor of California. And, you know, some people, including myself, heard the underlying message that she's running for president in 2028 instead. So, yeah. But CNN had this to say about the state of the Democratic Party the other day, and she wasn't even part of the conversation.
Democrats at this point are historically divided. It is a complete and utter mess. It is messier than a hoarder's basement. What are we talking about here? The national early poll leader, 25% plus. Normally, that's where Democrats are. Biden was at 25% plus in 2020. Hillary Clinton was in 08 and 16. Gore was in 00 and 04. At this particular point, there is no one in the Democratic race for president who's polling at 25% plus. The water is quite warm. If you're a Democrat potentially thinking about running in 2028, jump right in, because at this point, there is no front runner.
What do you think? Is that because how people view the Democratic Party right now, is that contributing to this?
Yeah, I think that is in large part of what's going on, is one of the reasons why there is no front runner. Nobody wants to put anybody up at the top of their ballot list, is because at this particular point, the Democratic brand is in the basement. It is total and complete garbage in the mind of the American public. The Democratic Party's net favorable rating, record lows in all 3. Wall Street Journal, 30 points underwater. CNN, 26 points underwater. Gallup, 26 points underwater. And that is being driven in large part by discontent within the Democratic base. The Democratic base wants something different. We'll ultimately end up seeing who they choose. It'll be quite the thing who ultimately gets the rose.
It's garbage, I'm telling you, it's garbage.
I like his enthusiasm and his accent. It just kind of like.
Oh, he's our favorite statistician, because when things come out, even though he's on CNN, he tells it. These are the numbers, folks. This is what it is. And right now, and the Democratic Party, if they think following this Mamdani.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, no, Zoolander's not going to save the party. He's a flat-ass out-and-out communist, and if you can't see that the crap that he's promising is not possible,
and
good luck with that.
They elect him in New York City, which I think they will. I think that's going to happen.
Oh, Lord, I hope you're wrong.
I hope I'm wrong, too. But if they do, then we're really going to see the failed policies of socialist propaganda, socialist leadership. Because it's really going to be front and center for the whole American people to see. And maybe that's what they need. Maybe everybody needs to see everything fall on its face. And unfortunately, you know, the good people in New York are just going to have a hard time. I mean,
they need to be running the news article that was showing that grocery store in Kansas City that had nothing on the shelves. Things smelled rotting in there. They said the store was disgusting to go into. And the city was a
state-run grocery store?
Yes, it was a city-run in that area, doing just exactly what he's talking about. It didn't make it.
Yeah. You know, and he's talking about spending $60 million. Is that what it was?
Yeah, it's $60 million on 3 stores, and let me tell you, that's not even going to cover one.
I wouldn't think. That's a lot of. It's
it's a bahooey number, for lack of to say it nicely.
Yeah, it's campaign numbers. We really
there you go. That's what it is. It's campaign numbers, which are full of Yeah, they're full of porcelain-filled flushable sewage is what it is.
That's exactly right. And hopefully it doesn't back up and get all over the floor. But yeah, I read that it's the first time since 1992 that no Democrat has had more than a 25% favorability rating at this time of the presidential cycle. And 92 was what? That was Clinton, right? When he was when he first ran. So I mean, this is really they are in absolute disarray, and I don't see anybody leading them out of it. Like I said, if they're looking at Mamdani, then they're barking up the wrong tree. Nick Freitas, one of our favorite people, is gave us.
He is so wonderfully commonsensical.
Yes, he is. He's fantastic. He gave a compelling reason why all this is happening.
You know, an interesting phenomenon is taking place. We have certain politicians that are having a really hard time making their fundraising goals for the first time ever. I wonder if it has anything to do with the fact that a whole bunch of left-wing NGOs and Planned Parenthood stopped receiving hundreds of millions of dollars annually from the taxpayers. Yeah, because it turns out that certain politicians, rather than asking for your money, would take it in the form of taxation and then give it to their ideological allies within the NGO and abortion industry and then get a bunch of campaign contributions in return. I guess it was like a finder's fee. Or what's the other word for that? Embezzlement. Yeah. They're finding out now that it's much difficult when people have to voluntarily give you money instead of you just stealing it from them through taxation.
I would call it money laundering, but the
last election with Soros, they were saying, it's all Soros money. No, it wasn't. So it was it went to USAID that went to something that he had that he turned around and sent back to the Democrats.
And they found all the receipts for
it was our own money.
Yeah, they
found
took
out what
taxpayer money for Planned Parenthood, funded Planned Parenthood. Planned Parenthood took a certain percentage of that money every year, and put it back towards Democratic campaigns. I mean, it's in black and white. There's no debate on that. It's what happened.
Nope. Yeah,
and USAID was even a bigger scale thing.
Oh yeah, it was. It was USAID. What did I hear on that? Somewhere close to 90% of everything that went through there got funneled back to the Democrats.
So
when their slush fund got cut off, they're going, you can't. Well, we don't have anything, but you took our money.
And the Republicans are probably not above that, but I don't think it's been happening. Nobody's been called that out, and I would think that if that has happened, that'd have been called out a long time ago.
Oh heavens! Well, you see what the Dems are doing now is trying to blame the Republicans for what they're doing, just like they're talking about the gerrymandering. Well, how dare you? Well, we're not. We are above reproach. Yeah, no, you're not.
But it's exactly why their panties are in a wad over the whole USAID money drying up and the Planned Parenthood money, because that means the money's not coming back to them. So it's not about principle; it's about money.
Yeah, their knickers are in a knot because their bank account's not getting what it used to.
That's exactly right. The DOJ is looking into voter rolls for falsified ballots in some states. Falsified. I've got the accent from that guy from CNN. Especially California, former DOJ official and current UC Berkeley law professor John Yoo had this to say about it.
I have an obligation to make sure that non-citizens are not voting. And if they are engaged in lax policies, or they even engaged in efforts to register people who shouldn't be voting, then the federal government has the responsibility, not just the option, but the responsibility to audit those voter rolls to make sure that only citizens are voting in our elections. And Congress has tried to give the federal government more power to do this by giving it the right, I think, to cut off election funds to states that don't cooperate. I actually think the thing that's worrisome about the reports I've seen is that there are states and counties that are suggesting they won't cooperate. Why would they want to cooperate in opening their books and just showing that they have been engaged in good faith with registering only citizens to vote in federal elections?
Because
this resistance is part of the broader resistance you're seeing in immigration and other areas and the environment, where state and city officials are trying to flout the valid authority of the federal government to make sure that federal functions like voting are being performed correctly.
Yeah,
Things that make you go, they're not cooperating? Well, why?
Why wouldn't you? Well, maybe something nefarious. Maybe, maybe.
We're not doing nothing. Yeah, it's nothing.
What if every time your wife walked in the room and you closed your laptop really fast, and go, nothing? Well,
Yeah, that wouldn't last very long.
something would be up. Yes. Bruce Liu, I'd never heard of this guy before, but he's running against Nancy Pelosi for the GOP next year. He had this to say about it, too.
California Democrats just made it a lot easier to cheat in elections. Assembly Bill 930 would allow mail-in ballots to be counted way past Election Day, compresses and delays the recount timeline to make challenging suspicious results harder, and most damningly, allows non-citizens to oversee the tallying of close races. If the Democrats get their way on this, we might never have a fair election in California again.
I think
Well-
maybe we just need to cut California off and let it float out.
It's not any different in Oregon. In fact, they're looking into Oregon stuff going, there's an issue here. They have had mail-in ballots since we lived there 35 years ago. That's what they've done is mail-in ballots. Oh, well, this is convenient. Dummy me just go, okay, I'll just send my ballot in this way. And not think that, wait a minute, there's a lot of nefarious crap that's going on there. And yeah, that's why there's only like a couple cities, Portland and Eugene. That's pretty much it. That is blue, and the whole rest of the state gets screwed.
What is it about the Pacific Ocean? The air out there is causing people to kind of. I mean, what is it? There's something happens because Washington State's the same way. All along the coast.
It's the same way, and they're about to run off all kinds of businesses, and people are because I think they just upped their taxes as of the 1st of August, or maybe it's October
really?
coming.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's the highest increase in taxes ever for the state. And it's already expensive to live there, and people are going, yeah, that's enough of that crap.
I mean, with such beautiful weather, is that why people stay?
Yeah, you don't have to ever wash your ears. You know, it's. I used to say that when I was over living in the Portland area, and the wind would blow and it's raining, and it would. Oh, I get a free ear wash today. I get this side coming into the building, and then the other side when I go back out to the truck.
At least you get both sides done. Really.
That's right. You know, it's like.
And as elections go, even shadier stuff has been happening in Iowa, of all places. Here's Iowa Congressman.
Not Iowa.
Not Iowa. I mean, nobody ever thinks about Iowa. To be honest, no offense to Iowans, but I mean, you're just kind of like there. But Iowa Congressman Zach Nunn talks about what happened there.
My name is Zach Nunn. I represent Iowa's 3rd District, and today I'd like to share briefly a story of a man from Iowa with a brain injury who was targeted by Democratic operatives to get his name on the ballot. Despite this man not even being able to drive, they recruited him, they targeted him over the course of a year, impersonating members of Congress, deceiving him that he was in direct conversations with Donald Trump so that he would run in a Make America Great style party to try and get on the ballot. In my home state of Iowa, Democrats who are on the ballot have said that they cannot win unless they have a spoiler on the ballot. That was just out this week. Tragically, they lied to him because they knew they could deceive him. They push-polled, paid for it. When he arrived in Des Moines, they picked him up in an electronic vehicle and then dropped him off at the Secretary of State's office. They handed him a pile of binders that had been paid and recruited for by a Democratic operative firm so that he could get his name on the ballot. They studiously avoided being on security cameras, and when he asked to have their picture taken together, they refused to take that photo. Democratic law firms notarized his information and handed it in to the Secretary of State. The only intent was to steal an election from Iowans. And as a combat veteran who, when I first ran, Democrats stole my military records, and we saw it happen time and time again with no punishment or even consequence by the Department of Justice, Democrats have stepped up their game to use truly shady tactics that not only are a direct threat to our democratic institutions in Iowa, but they are trying to manipulate and deceive Iowans. And this is where I draw the line. When you try to steal an election in my state, we fight back. We've exposed them, and I'm grateful for the AP's investigative story. These are not my words. This is their investigation into what a shady Democratic firm has done to try and steal an American election by putting false flag candidates on the ballot. Now, in our case, as a counterintelligence officer, we were successful. But this threat has not abated. And tragically, we have seen in states like Minnesota, Montana, and with my dear friend Jen Kiggins in Virginia, their attempts are real, they are paid for by independent expenditures, and they are operated in the shadows by firms directly tied to Democrats. So whether you're a Republican or a Democrat, this does not matter. Everyone should universally say these tactics are illegal, they are unacceptable, and they must be stopped. We must all work together to call out this type of deceit, because when I worked in Eastern Europe and saw Putin's playbook on how they distorted elections in real democracies, they were effective. That cannot happen here, no matter whose party it is.
You got to admit the evil genius behind that is incredible.
Well, you know, what was it in the earlier thing with saying, well, apparently if the Republicans don't cheat, they can't win.
Yeah.
It's coming from states that got weird-ass gerrymandering. It's like, really? You're going to... Okay. So
Well,
I would
again-
love to see... in Idaho, you have to show ID when you show up. You say what your full name is, what your address is. They have that on record, and then you have to show them your driver's license or whatever ID you might have, and then you get to go vote.
Right.
It's not that big a deal.
We have our driver's license out, and then they have this big binder of voter rolls of people in our county, and because we always vote early, so it's the whole county in this big couple of books, and they find you and they put a check mark by your name and cross it off, and then they give you the card to go to the machine to go vote. Why? It's not that, like you said, it's not that difficult. Why can't we have this universally?
It's so that you don't have someone showing up and said, yeah, I'm here to vote. And they go, oh, sorry, you've already voted.
But they talked this guy because he is diminished. They talked him into being actually running for an office that he wasn't even running for. I mean, it's just so shady, so shady. I just don't, it's totally evil. It just... Again, you accuse the other people of what you're guilty of.
Yeah,
that way.
And folks, you've heard us earlier when we were talking about with the stocks and stuff. We're going to be. I'm not finding anything that if a Republican's doing that, I want them gone yesterday. That's just the ethics. It's like, no, that's enough. Why does this always seem to be on the Democrat liberal side? Because rules and laws, they're a guideline at best. Well, they're there.
It doesn't apply to them because nobody's ever held their feet to the fire about it.
Yeah.
And Republicans.
The Constitution. Well, who needs that?
Yeah, exactly. Hey, we're going to skip that Cuomo story we have. We'll try to hit that next week if we get a chance. We do need a palate cleanser because I got to scrape my tongue on this.
I've got a headache. There's too much bad news.
We have a Paul Harvey rest of the story about a younger brother who was hardly given a chance as a kid. Is that no? This is about a boxer. That was last week.
Yeah, I'm going.
That was last week. I did not fix it. This is about a boxer. And we don't fix things in post here, kids. We are warts and all.
We're professionals, and you get it live. Because we're lazy.
Yeah, we are kind of lazy. But I done make a mistake. So anyway, this is about a rest of the story about a boxer that you may have heard of. So here he is.
Rest of the story. Officer Joe Martin was off duty that night, working out at the Columbia Gymnasium. The gymnasium was in the lower level of the Columbia Auditorium where a merchandise exhibition was going on that evening. Anyway, Joe's down there in the gym when suddenly he glanced at the doorway and saw this little boy crying. "What's the matter?" Joe asked. The youngster, gasping for words between sobs, said he had been told there was a policeman in the basement. Joe, with back-turned thumb, indicated that he was a cop. "They stole my bike," the child said. "Who?" said Joe. The little boy shook his head. He didn't know, but it was a brand-new bike. It was a red and white Schwinn, and he'd waited a long time to get it, and now it was gone. Joe said, "How old are you?" Boy? The boy said 12. The officer smiled inside. There was a cherished bicycle in just about every boy's life, but this one more than likely would never be recovered. Big crowd upstairs, clean getaway. Joe tried to explain that as gently as possible to the youngster, who nonetheless insisted on recounting what had happened. He and a friend had ridden their bikes to the Columbia Bazaar, had spent the late afternoon roaming among the exhibits and partaking of the free candy offered by some of the merchants. When it was time to go home, the boys returned to the spot where they'd chained their bicycles. The friend's bike was still there, but the shiny new Schwinn was just too much temptation for somebody. The chain had been cut. The bike was gone. Someone said there was a police officer downstairs, so the little boy had gone downstairs. But if you can't help me get my bike back, the child blurted through angry tears, I'm going to find him, and I'm going to find out who took it, and I'm going to beat him up. It was right then that Officer Joe Martin's inner smile turned outward. Listen, he told the little lad, before you start fighting somebody, maybe you'd better learn how. Now the youngster is silent. The last tears still trickle down his face. But they'd stopped flowing now. What do you mean learn how to fight, he repeated. Joe nodded and then added, I'll show you. Let's abbreviate the rest of the story. That October 1954 began an intriguing lifelong friendship between a half-pint crime victim and the cop in the basement. The two would meet down there in the gymnasium often after that night, Joe teaching the basics that he had learned long ago. And much to Joe's surprise, the little boy was a quick study. Although the latter soon forgot his original reason for wanting to learn to fight. There would be other shiny bicycles in the youngster's life, but there would never be another Joe Martin. So in a way, this mention today is a love letter to the Joe Martins everywhere. Realizing that big hurts sometimes come in small packages. You guys give your time, your heart, when the world isn't watching, because someday it might be. And it was for a weeping, whining boy of 12. Because he grew into a tall, strong man under the guidance and with the encouragement of a cop named Joe Martin, who became the forever pal of the man that child became, Cassius Marcellus Clay, Muhammad Ali. And now you know the rest of the story.
I love that story. That's really,
yeah. There are people in your life that come along and things maybe aren't going well or doing whatever, and it's just a little package from God that wanders in, and all of a sudden things start getting better. And it's just nice to hear of those things.
And sometimes that opportunity will hit you, and you got to recognize it when it hits you. You know that you can maybe help a youngster that doesn't have a lot of guidance. And look at how it turned out for him. Yep. So really, really fantastic. Well, and we hope you were somewhat informed and had fun like we did. Don't forget, you can find us on iTunes, Spotify, iHeart, Amazon Smart Speaker, Rumble, or wherever you get your podcasts.
And if all that's just confusing, go to our good old website of StayOffMyLawn.us for all our past and present episodes.
And we'll see you next week, folks.
Toodles, and thanks so much for listening. We're now in 45 countries, so keep spreading the word, folks. We do appreciate it. Have a great day.